just gonna wing it. I just wanted to make this video about how I'm using my Canon 5D Mark II as a webcam, capturing footage off of my Apple IIc. Yeah, so the reason I'm using it as a webcam is so that I don't have to deal with the sort of like, I think it's like a 12-minute limit of recording on the camera. So if I just stream it over to my PC, then I can record for as long as the battery will last, which is probably like an hour, until I get an adapter so I can run it all day. The reason I'm documenting this is because I had to jump through so many hoops to get this to work. And starting with, you're going to need two tools, EOS Utility and EOS Webcam Utility. So there's a great video already about this on YouTube that goes into the details on how to use your Canon 5D Mark II as a webcam. And it's great and everything, but it's 2 years old and Canon has moved things around. So you can't just download this beta version of the webcam utility. Although in this note here, it looks like he's suggesting using webcam utility 1.1. So that's actually probably something to look into. And he even links it here. Let's see where that goes. So 1.1. Yeah, see, it's already showing 2.0. And then if you scroll down all the way to the bottom, let's see. Webcam. See, that's 2.0. So I think this is a problem because that's not going to work. So what I did was, so I'm not even using the version he suggested here, which is Webcam Utility 1.1. I went to archive.org and did a search for EOS Webcam Utility. And when you do that search here, you get two versions. And the one I was interested in is this EOS Webcam Utility beta for Windows 0.9.0. So that's the one I'm using. That's the one I'm going to show you here. Now there's another interesting thing. You also need something called EOS Utility. And I would suggest possibly experimenting with different versions of it, but the one that I downloaded was from a similar time period. So this, what I did was I went over to the Canon page where it's like talking about EOS 6D Mark II, and I guess I probably went as far down as I possibly could to look for EOS Utility. There it is. Okay, so this is not what I'm using though. So let's see if I can find this. So if I do a search, EOS Utility 3.9. Okay, so it went down as far as 3.9. All right, and now if I go to details here, that's really interesting. So let's go to my downloads and see what I got. So it looks like I downloaded, yeah, okay, I see what happened. So I did download a bunch of versions. The one I ended up installing was, I think, 3.10. And what's interesting when you go into that installer is it has the option to install, that's funny, oh yeah, it's under Canon. So this is what I wanted to show you, that there's EOS Utility, Utility 2, and I guess I didn't install Utility 3, or I did and then I uninstalled it. I think there's a funny thing where there's EOS Utility and EOS Utility 2 here, but I think they're both the same thing. But when I run it, it shows up as EOS Utility. So let me show you that. So this is the desktop shortcut I use every time. Yeah, it just runs it as EOS Utility. Okay, so here's what I wanted to show you. So when I plug the Canon camera in, so I suggest you find this video to download that stuff. You might have to experiment with different versions or use the versions I'm using. And then once that stuff's installed, there's so many more hoops you have to jump through. For starters, I'm going to turn on my camera. And I'm going to show you EOS Utility. And it has this camera settings remote shooting, which is what I use. And what I use that for, I'll go to live view shoot. And what's nice about this is you can change your white balance here, which is amazing. And then if for some reason, oh yeah, it has this focus feature here, which I really like to just click it once since I'm using like a static setup. So that focused on this screen. You can focus on anything you want. Let's focus on the radiator. Turn that. There we go. There's a radiator and a disc box. And then you can focus back over here. Whoops. Drag it. Come on, drag it. Why can't I drag it? Alright. But let's recenter that. And I'll focus it. And now I'll close this. Or maybe I'll close it here. And I can close this thing. And then I'll run OBS. So this is the funny part. I've already quit out of the webcam utility, but something happens where it leaves a process running, and now the webcam doesn't show up in OBS. So just to show you, I have this video capture here. Go to properties, and it should show up. If you've installed EOS Webcam Utility beta, it should show up in here as a device. So that's how you get this going. So the reason it's not working is I have to go to Task Manager and quit out of EOS Utility, which will show up down here in this crazy list of stuff. So you can right click that and end task. And then it works. So that's great, right? But that's not really... There's one more interesting thing happening here. Because then let's say you walk away, you turn off your camera. Okay. Turn it back on, and you think everything's set up, right? So I'm going to turn it back on. Here we go. Oops. And sometimes it runs EOS Utility automatically. Somehow I've managed to get it to not do that, which is kind of good because it really annoyed me that it would do that. But let's just say you're in a hurry and you just open up OBS. Now look at that. What happened? Why does it have these black bars around it? And I only just discovered this today, and I've known about this type of setup for over a year. So here's my answer. Well, it's not officially supported, right? So maybe that's the reason. But I found that if I run EOS Utility, and then let's see if I just quit and then run OBS. All right, so then you have to kill that task, right? So it fixed it. So EOS Utility, for some reason, fixes the glitch. This is more for bragging rights. What I wanted to show you is whenever I run EOS Utility, sometimes I don't want to have to go to the task manager. So what I did was I wrote this batch script and made a shortcut that basically quits it, plays a sound, and then closes the window, all in one fell swoop. And I'll show you my batch script. This is all it says. Let's make it big. Whoops. So this is my batch script. You can copy that. And then in my shortcut, I am running this command, which is the full path to cmd.exe/k, and then I've got in quotes the full path to the batch script, wherever you may have put it, and that should do it. Anytime you want to check your camera, you go into EOS Utility. You can make changes here, go live view. You don't have to go to live view, but I like having it on. You could go here and change your shutter speed. Go a little lower. Is that lower or higher? I think lower, right? Because, oh, this is lower. Because it's, hold on, faster shutter speed should capture less light. So this is super fast shutter speed, yeah. So I think it was okay around 60, 160. Theoretically, and maybe it depends on how much light is being captured, if it gets low enough, you should start seeing the weird artifacts on the CRT, the refresh rate artifacts. So let's say you just came in here, you're happy with the camera settings, you close this. So I could sometimes open OBS, see that it's not working, and then I'll double click on my tool, and then it fixes it. And that's my workflow. It's still kind of jumping through a lot of hoops, a lot of buttons to push, but at least I've automated the most annoying part of the process. Yeah, and that's my setup. I never know how to end these videos. That's it. Enjoy. Enjoy. And cut.